Hello, this is book 2 for July 2020. We have a couple more videos from this book. I hope you enjoyed it. It was really good. Um, it's one of those things that you think that you really shouldn't know or shouldn't care about. But things like the Freemasons and secret societies are important because they're part of our society. Everything that's a part of our society is important. Um, let's get into it. Knight's book, The Brotherhood, in 1984 was followed by Martin Short's even more fanciful book, Inside the Brotherhood, Further Secrets of the Freemasons in 1989, and Lundy, The Destruction of Scotland Yard's Finest Detective in 1991. By the time Inside the Brotherhood was published, Stephen Knight had died at the age of 33 from epilepsy brought on by being struck on the head with a bat while playing cricket. Short just but only just refrains from saying that Knight was murdered by the Freemasons because he had criticized them in the Brotherhood. But he says that many Freemasons firmly believe that their Masonic brothers murdered him. In Lundy, The Destruction of Scotland Yard's Finest Detective, Short alleges that Lundy, a Scotland Yard detective, was framed and dismissed from his post because he refused to participate in a plot by the Freemasons at Scotland Yard to help their Masonic brothers escape justice. In the reading the books of Knight and Short, 2 points must be borne to mind. The first is that some policemen are corrupt, and some judges give legal decisions that are sometimes very difficult to understand and explain. In the case of the police, it is inevitable and indeed desirable and necessary that detectives meet criminals, talk to them, and have drinks with them, and at least pretend to become friendly with them in the hope of obtaining useful information. They may, must, and often do go further and make bargains, though they publicly deny this to avoid criticism from judges and from public opinion. The second point is that detectives, barristers, and judges tend to have a somewhat cynical sense of humor and often make jokes in private at their own expense and about their profession, which should not be taken too seriously, even by writers of popular books about Freemasons. When members of the public believe, and politicians and other persons who appear on television state, that our British police force is the best in the world, experienced policemen know that while it may perhaps be the best in the world, it is nevertheless much less good than it ought to be. When these same politicians and television personalities indignantly reject the suggestion that Libyans accused of committing acts of terrorism should be tried in a neutral country and not in Scotland, because this would imply that British justice is not perfect and infallible, experienced barristers and judges know that it may be fairer than in other countries, but that it is not unknown for innocent people to be convicted in British courts. And because they cannot or do not wish to say this in public, they are all the more likely to say it in private. It is those policemen and judges who make these remarks in a jocular and cynical manner, who disapprove most strongly of the corruption and injustice, and are most likely to try their best to stamp them out, while those politicians and opinion formers who denounce most loudly the corruption and racial prejudice in the police force are usually the same as those who yesterday placed restrictions on the power of the police and authorities to punish corrupt and racially prejudiced policemen by introducing safeguards to ensure a fair hearing for the accused policemen, out of sympathy for or fear of the police and other trade unions. In his book about Lundy, Short described a dinner held at the Royal Lancaster Hotel in 1980 by a Masonic lodge which consists almost exclusively of policemen who are Freemasons. The brothers were, as usual, allowed to bring a guest, and one policeman brought as his guest a well-known criminal. During the dinner, a raffle was held and the well-known criminal won the first prize, which was a TV set. And as he went to collect his prize, another policeman present whispered to his neighbor that this was the first TV set that the criminal had acquired without stealing it. Everything about this story rings very true, but when Short draws the conclusion that some Masonic lodges are not a column of mutual defense and support, as the Freemasons claim, but cells of crime and corruption, we should ask him if he is sure that corrupt or honest policemen have never taken a criminal as their guest to some dinner that had nothing whatever to do with the Freemasons. So, we see that when you're secret, you can have a lot of information that you keep from the general public, and I understand why, because the general public, the way we educate our general public, we don't educate them. So if you give them esoteric knowledge, real information, deep information, they may not understand it, they may misuse it, it could destroy them. But on the other hand, when you're secret, people can make up things about you, and you can't really defend yourself without giving away your secrets. So to me, secret societies really are obsolete at this point, and we really should move on. And we should actually educate the mass so that they can understand deep and esoteric concepts. And I don't think that's hard to do at this point, but that's just me. Until next time, I want to thank you for supporting me, and I want to say take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.